Today I'm identifying houses of worship, churches, synagogue, and mosques as essential places that provide essential services.
President Trump says he is directing governors to allow the reopening of all houses of worship this weekend. The president threatened to override state orders if governors do not comply. White House Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany, who spoke after the president, would not answer questions about what legal authority the president has to override the governors. The announcement comes after the CDC issued new guidelines reopening for places of worship at the president's direction.
The Archdiocese of Miami has announced that it will welcome back parishioners to in-person worship on Tuesday, right after Memorial Day. In
a letter to congregants, Archbishop Thomas Wenski says they're reopening because the church believes there are, quote, no substitutes for the reception of the sacrament. We're pleased to be joined tonight by Archbishop Wenski. Archbishop, masses will resume with, of course, strict safety restrictions. Tell us about how the worship experience will be impacted by this.
Well, the churches will be a bit smaller in their capacity because we will be using social distancing of 6 feet, and that will probably reduce the capacity of the church to about 25 to 30% of the normal occupancy of the church. Also, we're asking people to wear face masks while they're in church, and we will be having at the doors hand sanitizers for those that didn't bring their own and wish to sanitize their hands before the service or after the service. We ask the people to maintain the 6 feet separation when they approach the altar for Holy Communion. When they come up for Holy Communion, they'll have to take off their face masks, of course, but then the priest or the minister of Holy Communion will be wearing a face mask at that time, while he wouldn't be wearing it on the altar or at the ambo when he's preaching. It's going to be a kind of a strange experience, and that's one of the reasons we're beginning on Tuesday rather than on Sunday, because that will allow both the priest and his staff to gradually ramp up so that when Sunday comes, they will be ready. At the same time, we're telling people that are sick to stay home, and if they are frail or are vulnerable because of underlying conditions, or they're a caretaker of someone that is frail, vulnerable, underlying conditions, they too should stay home. And we will continue to make the Mass available through live streaming, and of course, these people that are homebound can always make arrangements for a priest or a minister of Holy Communion to visit them in their homes and to make sure they receive the sacraments.
Archbishop Wenski, of course, churches have been opening the keys since Monday. How's that gone so far? Are there any lessons that you've learned from how services have gone there that maybe can be used in Miami-Dade and Broward?
Well, the keys are kind of a special reality because they didn't have a whole lot of cases of infections of the virus, and it's a much more smaller population, especially since the keys have been closed off to non-residents. However, most of the churches have received, a handful of people for their daily masses, except for Key West, which is the largest population center in the Keys, and they had about 70 people that came to the first Mass on Monday, and they were able to handle that pretty well. Now, as they look forward to the weekends, we'll have to see if people will come back to church slowly, which I think is probably going to be the case in most instances. But if a parish expects a big crowd, then the parishes are working out systems of making reservations ahead of time, and believe it or not, there's an app for that. So, they're going to be trying to accommodate the people, and going forward, if we have to add additional masses, we will.
Yeah, you said there's an app for that. Wow, that's really interesting.
That's what they tell me. So.
There's an app for everything.
There's an app for everything.
There really is. Archbishop Wenski, before we let you go, obviously churches need money to survive. It's been weeks since they've been able to pass the collection plates. So how worried should folks be about the financial health of their parishes?
Well, of course, I worry about that a lot, but generally speaking, I would say that it could be better, but it's not bad in the sense that even before the pandemic hit us, we've been encouraging people to contribute to their Sunday collection online. And when the pandemic forced the suspension of public masses, we made a big push for that. And so a lot of parishes have been very successful in getting their people to continue their weekly donations to the church online. And that has eased a lot of our concerns.
Right.
People are very much connected to the church. And during this time, the priests in the parish have been working. We've never shut down. We never closed because we are an essential service in the sense that we have schools to run, and our rectory offices were open so that when people came for special needs or for sick calls, they were attended to. And our priests, even though they couldn't have a congregation present with them in the church, they said Mass every day. And in doing that, they offered the most essential service of all, which is their prayers.
Absolutely. Well, that's great to hear. And before I let you go, we got to run, but I have to tell you, I saw you perform a Mass in 3 languages, and I was especially impressed by how well you spoke Creole. So you're the man.
It's my best language.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Archbishop Thomas Wenski joining us.